Do-da, do-da, do-da.
Lucky's tastes better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother.
Lucky's tastes better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, richer tasting fine tobacco.
Lucky's tastes better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
Everybody knows LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So remember,
Lucky's tastes better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother.
Lucky's tastes better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
welcome to the Haggerty family, episode 563 of Bass.
Sad. Please take note of my image here. I'm wearing the unofficial sigil of Bishop Sycamore School
Office.
You're a proud alum, Andy?
Well, considering it's all made up, I can just do anything I want anyway with it. So yeah, sure, I am an alumni of.
As someone that dabbles or doesn't dabble, but like my main job function is dabbling in the world of high school football. That was one of the weirdest things that I read through in a bit.
Oh yeah,
right down to the reason that the school is named what it is, and this coach saying that, well, he is the bishop, meaning the overseer of these young men that are taking rinky-dink classes online to play football in high school.
Wait, so the bishop is the coach? Basically?
Yeah, yes, the coach on the coach's Twitter feed, he says that the school is named Bishop, and in this case, Bishop equals overseer, and he, the coach, is the overseer of these kids.
Wow.
okay.
I don't know.
The sycamore wasn't explained.
It's sycamore trees.
So for those that don't know,
big in the area,
right? in Columbus. So for those that don't know, there was a high school football like showcase over the weekend over on ESPN, and the final game of the weekend, IMG Academy, which is a little more not necessarily above board but legitimate football prep school, where literally these kids from all over the country go to the school in Bradenton, Florida. And yes, they do normal high school, like they take classes and whatever that they need to do to get them to college, but it's a sports academy essentially. And they played in this Hall of Fame showcase in Canton, Ohio, against this school called Bishop Sycamore, which when ESPN was sold the game by like this organizing group, they were sold the game as this team has several Division I commits and prospects that definitely deserve to be featured in this game. Turns out it's like a hybrid online school that barely affords to exist, doesn't exist as like an on-campus thing. They have like an office building somewhere. They're playing a national schedule in that they don't play any home games, and they're playing these powerhouse schools from across the country. They went 0-6 last year and lost every game by like 30 points. They're played a game on Friday before playing a game on Sunday. It doesn't seem that they actually have road uniforms because they played a team that wears all black by wearing all black.
The helmets didn't match. It's horrible.
Helmets didn't match, and kids were getting injured, and they have like 30 kids on the team. It's
like all black too. There's like no logo on the helmet. There's nothing.
It's literally just like stock out of the catalog. Black helmet, black jersey, white numbers, black pants. That's it.
I just want to throw in really quick that our listeners are the very best. we weren't 5 minutes into this, and we've already got there has to be a GTOV entry we can get out of this. So I just love that.
Certainly.
Yeah, somebody write that down. Cosmic, if you're listening, add it to the list. Yeah, it was a weird thing, and so IMG was actually from Florida. They're not from the Cleveland area, because I know IMG, if I'm not mistaken, has a big office or presence here in Cleveland. So I wasn't.
No, the IMG Academy is in Bradenton, Florida. Their football team has been one of the top teams in the country for several years now, because they're literally just, as I said, they're sports academy, and so
yeah, they're a high school
essentially
team.
Essentially, yeah. You go there to play sports and pass enough classes to go to Florida State or whatever you need to do.
Yeah,
but they've come out to California a couple times and lost, so
they're lucky. The whatever Bishop Sycamore is claiming to be, they're lucky that some of those kids didn't get badly hurt. I mean, playing 2 games in 3 days.
Well, the quarterback got hurt. The quarterback for the other team got hurt.
I mean,
and
badly
another
hurt.
kid go down at some point. Yeah,
like
I don't know
paralyzed.
the extent.
Yeah, I mean like IMG, as loaded and as deep as they are, probably couldn't play 2 games in 3 days. At least not do it wisely anyway. And I saw this starting to trend on Twitter yesterday, and I thought, what in the world is going on with this high school football game? I mean, blowouts happen all the time. And the more I dug into it, the more I'm like, oh my God, to the point today where we're not even sure this is a real school. And all indications would seem to lead you to think that it's not.
Yeah, it's a lot of this seems like it was kind of developed whole cloth, and there's probably some petty, like really small potatoes grift that's happening, considering that this is sort of like
this coach is taking advantage of these parents.
I mean, it's all. But there's no reason for this thing to exist, and it's absolutely like people pointing out. How the hell does this get past any of these state high school athletic associations? Like, does nobody vet anything?
No, apparently I followed some of the Twitter threads. This school is not part of the Ohio Federation. They opted out of being part of the Ohio district. So that's why they also play a national schedule. So they're playing these teams from across the country because they don't have to fit into their bracket.
And if any team in Ohio plays this team, it does not count towards their record, towards their playoff rankings, nothing. You might as well just go out and throw the ball around the field for an hour, because you're going to get just as much out of it. So
it's not that it even matter, because apparently this team sucks.
Right.
Right. So I don't know what any of these kids are getting out of it.
No, they're getting concussions out of it. And, they're the Washington Generals of high school football. And the fact that they're like going around the country just getting their ass kicked, getting these kids hurt. I mean, there's going to be a lot of greased palms, I assume, once everything comes out about this, to see like essentially like people look the other way or kind of, paid off a few people. And again, we're not talking, it's not big bucks here. It's just something just kind of gross and small and dumb that didn't need to happen, but did.
Yeah, but you know what?
Like, but it's also weird that this school has existed, or at least this football team, for what it's worth, has existed for a few years now, and played again. They played IMG last year. Now, last high school football season was such a weird thing that may give them a pass, but they've done this for a few years now and played some of these teams in the past, some of these top schools that are used by this the partner that ESPN worked with on this is a thing called Paragon Marketing, and they're the ones that organize these national like whenever you see a high school football game on ESPN and it's like, oh, this team from Maryland is playing this team from Nebraska, this is why. They are the ones that organize these sorts of things.
Yeah. I have to think there was a paycheck involved somewhere, because what would the point be otherwise?
Yeah,
because you're getting all this national attention to a school that more or less doesn't exist, and it's not. It doesn't take Woodward and Bernstein to figure this out. I mean, the minute people started looking into it, like, well, something's not adding up here.
And what's probable is that this is certainly not the only one of these that's in circulation around the country. Like, if this was not on ESPN, nobody would have ever noticed. It would have been a small potatoes thing that maybe got leaked in a few years, but like, it makes you wonder how many of these kind of like just cupcake teams around Washington Generals, or as LMU says, the Brooklyn Brawlers, Barry Horowitzes of high school football, that just kind of exist to go around and just get the shit beat out of them for no real purpose. Like it's got to come back somewhere. It would have to come back to a small group of people. I don't think anyone's getting paid big bucks for this, but like that's what's even worse about it.
Here's another thing that popped up. This is from Awful Announcing, and they're digging into this. A week ago, Sycamore posted a GoFundMe campaign seeking $20,000. And with the $20,000, this is the description. We are Bishop Sycamore, a new football program getting established in Columbus, Ohio. We play a national schedule which is ranked 4th in the nation, which it is. They have the 4th toughest schedule in the nation, according to Max Preps, who governs these things pretty well. We have gather young men from all over the country in pursuit of a similar goal. We currently need your assistance with helping these young men achieve their goals and inspire other young men to do the same. It takes a community to raise a child. Please be that community and help these young men. Please help us with funding team meals, travel expenses, and equipment costs. So for that $20,000 GoFundMe that they started a week ago, for this school that is playing a national schedule in which they have to travel to Kentucky and to Texas and to Florida and whatever, they've raised $200.
That's the thing.
Any high school football factory in the country that has the similar goals or the similar means to do what it's trying to do, they don't need to do this. So, like you said, there's a grift going on, and it's not working. It's like,
and with regard to how much money it is, I mean, it's all relative. If you're a grifter just trying to pick up, say, $5-10 grand out of this, you're in heaven off this thing. I mean, this isn't $1 million operation, and clearly these are not masterminds running this thing. But I was going to bring up that GoFundMe thing, Zach, because to me it's like, apparently no one's even ever heard of these guys enough to even go, yeah, even my kids are involved or whatever, give a little bit of money. I mean, $200.
Yeah, and the $200 is from somebody inside, just to get it started.
That is $200, yeah,
seed money.
Like I'm gonna click on it. I'm sure it's gotten a little bit more. Oh, somehow it went down to 140.
Well, I guess it wasn't the coach's money. I don't know. It's just,
or it was, and he needed it for something else. Like, wait a minute, I gotta put gas in the car.
Sorry. This fundraiser is also no longer accepting donations.
I
assume GoFundMe has sifted them out and said, yeah, no, none of this.
I feel bad for the kids involved in this because they were sold a bill of goods. They're like, hey, you can come play. Bishop Sycamore. I mean, that's like that name that what's his name? The guy from Wolf of Wall Street, where they came up with that name that sounded very waspy and all that. That's what this sounds like. It's like, well, that sounds like a pretty big time school.
Sounds like a prep school. Yeah, it checks like visual, or not even visually, because once you look at them, you realize what the hell is this. But on a piece of paper, this checks all the boxes.
Yeah,
that says, oh yeah, sure, this is a high school football team that, I'm sure they're a private school that gets all the academy kids. They're trying to make their way up in the world. They got some big donation or something. It happens. I mean, hell, I see that all the time around here in Southern California. Like some of these schools that are actual real schools, but are either like tiny little Christian academies, and in the span of like 3 seasons, are all of a sudden playing for Division I championships. And it's like, well, where did all that come from? You wonder.
I think that's what these guys are trying to do, but don't have the blueprint to do it.
No, it's not Stratton Oakmont level shit.
There you go. Yeah.
It's just like this sad little thing. I mean, do I feel sorry for the kids? I'm gonna wait on that to judge before, because I mean these may be guys. Like, I found some really great tweets of people. It's like, hey, that's Jimmy from the warehouse getting his ankles broken on ESPN by a junior. Like these guys are 20, 21 years old.
Right. That was another thing.
I thought I read
some of these guys are well past high school graduation age.
Well, I thought I read something in a Twitter thread that essentially said that in Ohio, this is actually a problem, or not even a problem, but there are kids that are postgraduate that play on these high school teams sometimes?
I wouldn't know. I don't follow. I mean, I know that high school football, we are one of the worst offenders when it comes to high school football. Us, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, maybe California. I don't know. You'd be better to address that, Zach. But it wouldn't surprise me. I'll say that. I can't say that it's true or not true. But if you told me that a team, say out of Cincinnati, like Cincinnati Moeller, which used to be one of the big powerhouses here, if you said like their free safety was 25, I wouldn't go, oh, there's no way. I'd be like, it could be. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just
I'm sure. Like I thought I saw one of the kids was 20, which is craziness. Like
all I know is
how does this even happen?
I used to do a highlight film every year for this Catholic team here in town, and I swear to you, maybe it's just because it just seemed like it, but I think their running back was on that team for 7 years. It was like still here.
Takes the field and blows a kiss to his wife and 3 kids up in the stands watching.
His senior picture was a family portrait, for fuck's sake. I mean, I don't know. I just the whole thing, and it's just going to get worse as we go. I mean, these academies and all that, and it's big business. And I don't know. We can yell at the ocean all we want, but I don't know if there's anything that can really be done about it. It's just. I don't like it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it is something that, it needs regulation. It needs some sort of vetting oversight to where you can simply say, like, if you're going to be an online high school traveling garbage football thing, you need like minimum amounts of financing and oversight so that you can, not get your kids injured or your young adults or, your early 30s players hurt when they're taking the field around the country. I mean, I don't know. It's stupid and it's fascinating at the same time. And what sucks is that because it was. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying because I'm scrolling through the story again just to kind of like pick up some things. The group that put this game together for Paragon is this thing called Prep Gridiron Logistics, which, like, based on the Twitter account and based on like the name, sounds made up, but like under their member programs, like these are all legitimate schools. Like there's the 3 that are around here that I know: St. John Bosco, Mater Dei, who are 2 and number 1 in the country, Servite, which is in their same league, Duncanville, Texas, which Mater Dei just kicked the snot out of over the weekend. So these are all these schools I have seen in national games on these schedules that are real, actual national high school powerhouses. And now there's this thing that's thrown in with that group, and you wonder, like, again, there has to be some level of vetting for this stuff. Like, you can't just say, "Hey, we made a team, and I'm going to pay a $2,000."
Oh, we talking about the fake football team?
Yeah, you showed up just in time, Mike. I have a question. We were talking about how these, like, okay, you teach at a private school, correct?
Yes.
Now, I can't imagine that they just said one day, we're going to be a private school, and that's going to be that, and that was it. There's no vetting process, no nothing.
There's there's a process you have to go through with the state, because obviously the state wants to make sure that you, well, not more so the local school board, but everyone wants to make sure that you're on par with the standards of the public system. So yeah, it's a process. You don't just say I'm going to start a public school, a private school, and
so you don't rent an office in an office complex in Columbus, throw up your Buckeye Sycamore or whatever, Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah,
I think Buckeye Sycamore is an actual real school in Ohio. Bishop Sycamore logo and go, here we are, and we got
that's not how it works. You might have to have a few meetings with some state officials before you can just say you're a private school.
Really quick, guys, prediction on this: does anybody go to prison from this? You think or not? I'm thinking that somebody broke a law somewhere here.
Well, the one guy's got a warrant. The coach has a fucking felony warrant.
We're halfway ahead of the game already at this point.
But I mean, aside from him, no, there'll be some fines and some like.
He's just going to go coach the Lions anyway, so it doesn't matter.
This story has been updated since I last looked at it. By the way, there's a lot of stuff in here that I didn't even read the first time through. I guess in the 2019 season, multiple games for this quote unquote school were canceled for either not providing a roster to the organizers or booking hotel accommodations, or opponents discovering the team was using players who were older than high school players, like we already talked about.
What a shit show.
Some of these players actually played in junior college games.
Right? Yeah.
What the hell is this? This stuff wasn't in the story when I read it this morning. Oh my god!
Man, I don't know.
This sounds like it would make like a great premise to like I don't know, a National Lampoon movie like
ESPN Playmakers 2, the high school years.
There you go.
That's
these kids like going, man, that linebacker over there, he's pretty old. That dude looks just like Ray Lewis.
Yeah, it's just
Saved
Ray
by
Lewis.
the Bell, Playmakers.
And it's just Ray Lewis. Like,
it's really Ray Lewis, yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like that's what's one of the shames.
He's like, what are you talking about? I'm in 10th grade.
Like because this was on ESPN, I'm guessing they probably won't fund a 30 for 30 about it because they're dumbass.
Because it make them look like a bunch of idiots.
To their defense, though, they came down pretty hard on this. They figured it out right away. Like something's not adding up.
Yeah,
there.
the announcers in the game were like, they told us that they had prospects, and they just don't. And I've never seen anybody like go on a high school or in a broadcast like that. It was.
They went in hard on them.
Yeah, production was probably putting things together. I mean, it was one of those things to where because the viewing audience was so large, you got to know within like 20, 30 minutes of them being live, they were probably getting phone calls and emails and texts that were like, "Hey, you guys know you're airing a bullshit school right now."
In the awful announcing story, there's basically the ESPN people were starting to ask questions like 3 weeks ago. When the talent has to research the game, they couldn't do any research because there was nothing to find. Like they were trying to get research on the players or the roster or anything, and the school was less than cooperative. So
because it doesn't exist,
they were having issues ahead of time. Yeah,
cooperate if you don't exist. What was I going to say? The excuse for playing two games, one on Friday and one on Sunday. They claim they have two teams.
That's a lie. Blatant lie.
Right.
Blatant
they don't.
lie because
they were the same players, right?
Yeah.
And
so here's something else that was added to the awful announcing story. Again, this is from a message board thread on prepgridiron.com, which reputable.
Yeah.
The 5-second version of this story apparently is they were formed as COF a few years back. Don't know what that means. But that program collapsed under fraud and misuse of funds, including fraudulently obtaining loans and failing to pay numerous vendors and landlords. So they folded and then called themselves Bishop Sycamore.
I don't know about you guys. I find all this fucking hilarious that this happened.
I really, God, there is so much more that's been added to this. I got to put this aside and read it.
We'll have more.
Yeah. This is
tomorrow, a couple hours. So,
it's developing the deeper they dig on this, the worse it's going to get. I promise you that. It's just
apparently COF, they were COF Academy, whatever the hell that was.
Come on, fuckers.
And they did win one game their first year. They won 1-11.
Oh, hey.
So you got whoever that program is, they're probably reevaluating everything today. Guys, we lost to fucking Bishop Sycamore a few years ago. Got to really look ourselves in the mirror here. I mean, it's fascinating. Like it's one of those things where I didn't really like Greg. I kind of saw it in passing. I was like, okay, I don't know what this is about. And then, but as I read the awful announcing thing, just probably about an hour and a half ago, it's just fascinating. The Onion has so many layers on this, and yet the stakes are so small. That's what's odd about it.
It's high school football.
It is important. There has to be.
Hey, I will tell you, based on what I have seen up close and personal with these top schools that we're talking about, there is money to be made in high school football. Of course. If you do the wrong thing, the right things, but the wrong things in the grand scheme.
Sure,
God, last year when the season was canceled, there was this guy about 30 minutes away in Inland Empire that set up an entire high school football club organization with no permits, and like it was on the side of a gun range, and it was the most rinky-dink run-of-the-mill thing, but he was grifting everybody left and right because nobody could play high school football because of the state regulation. So this guy for this Winter Circle Athletics, if you ever want to look it up, was talking trash on Twitter to anybody that would listen, writers, teams, etc., and making bank off of these kids and parents that just wanted to make sure their kid got a couple more reps in before they sent their tape off to UCLA or whatever. It's wild. What
on
what
a
can be
gun
done
range,
from
huh?
level
So,
these.
By
Yeah.
the way, Winter Circle Athletics, located hilariously enough in Corona, California.
Yeah.
Can't make that shit up.
Yeah, they were fun to deal with for a couple months. I'll tell you that.
I mean, but the thing is, though, if this was making a lot of money, I don't know who's getting it because it certainly wasn't the team, the coaches, the operation. Like somebody was probably just.
It was going to that coach's legal fees, right?
I guess.
I think you had some grifters who thought they saw like the IMGs and the other academies and thought we can do this. And
Yeah, it's like AAU basketball shit. Right?
And they tried it and it didn't work because they don't. I think in order to do this correctly and to do it, I don't even, as above board as you want to make it or whatever, I think you need people, not just with backgrounds in like, hey, we can make some money, but people that know how to, market and organize and all that. And I think we got a bunch of guys here just didn't know how to do any of that. And they're like, well, fuck it. We'll throw up a Bishop Sycamore logo and call it that. We'll run an office over next to the strip mall college and off we go. And it's never that easy. It's one of those things where it's like, if it was that easy, everybody'd be doing it. And I think they saw it as like, well, how hard could it be? Which are the famous last words of so many people. How hard could it be? Pretty hard, it turns out.
I don't pretend to know if there's going to be any resolution for this anytime soon, but I mean,
either.
The speaking of grift, though, this would be a nice transition into the name of the show for today, the Haggerty, Sports Show.
Yeah.
So
I'm lost on the reference, guys. Please explain.
Haggerty family. It was the Haggerty family, the ones that.
Oh, right, North Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic University.
University, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So so basically, they gave $2.5 million to the school on the condition that they name the coach. The coaching position has that title amended, has their name amended to the title. Just to give you a little bit of background.
I showed a picture of the couple. I just have to find it real quick here.
They're exactly what you think. Waspy, kind of just.
No, they are.
Yeah, there she is, and there he is. So now you look at this relationship. Now, do you think that they earned their fortune?
Fuck no.
Yeah, because her parents, Michelle's parents, they owned Pinnacle and Three Olives vodka. So that was eventually sold to Jim Beam for $605 million in 2012.
Well, hold on a minute. I might have to change my position on this. If they've got that kind of money, you want to throw a little our way, we'll make that the official logo of the show.
It looks like we with this photo, it looks like we threw some money their way. So
yeah, I like that the guy has his sleeves rolled up like he's about to do a hard day's work or something.
Hey, he's a real working guy.
Yeah, he's just like you and me.
Gonna go mow the lawn.
He's gonna go.
My problem with this, among the many I have with it, are you've got all that money and you still get your picture taken like it's your senior fucking picture at Olin Mills or something. Really, you couldn't come up with a better photograph than that.
Well, it's hard because
I'm sorry, but
this
is classic firing squad photography. Line them up against the wall and shoot them. That's what this is. It's like you can do better than this, people.
Well,
if they sponsor our show. I want a better picture.
It's hard because they already bought another home, so it's pretty difficult to find space for a good photo. They own an 8,570 square foot home, and they also bought the lot next to it for $10 million so they could build onto it or something like that. And they figured, fuck it, we'll throw a couple million. $2.5 million at a naming thing, which feels low for college football. Doesn't that feel kind of low for that?
It is low, but when you think about it, look what they chose to name. I mean, I would have been like, go fuck yourselves. You're not naming our head coach. Come on.
Well, what do you even get? So I assume the way that this works, the only way that they can get their money's worth is that it's on the website, as we know. I have to wonder if when they do like an official recap of the game, does like the sports information person that writes down the recap, like, the quote, we played hard today and we deserve to get that win. Haggerty family head coach Willie Taggart
Yeah,
said.
did they have to go the NASCAR route like the M&M's Toyota was running great today? That
or how the articles on the NHL's website were the only ones that actually refer to the sponsors for the divisions.
Yeah,
or is the only other place you're going to see it when they do and leading your Owls onto the field, the Haggerty family head coach Willie Taggart. Yeah.
I don't even think that. I think it'll be like on the door to his office. It might be in a couple things online, but like I don't. It's just it's one of those things. I would compare it to like, for example, a friend of mine is a pharmacist, and when he works at Walgreens, and whenever people would call, corporate told him, and whenever somebody calls the pharmacy, you have to say like, "Thank you for calling Walgreens, where you can be well today. Hi, my name is yada yada. How can I help you?" It was like a 10-15 second spiel that he had to say every time he answered the phone.
Oh, for fuck's
and it lasted about 2 days before he said, "Fuck that. I'm going to say hi, hello." Like pharmacy. Yeah. What can I do? Like there's just so much shit you can tack on to this kind of thing before it's just forget it. Just drop the bullshit.
I also wonder. Okay, so two things. One, Greg, you said NASCAR. Is it also like NASCAR when they ask like the racers or the drivers, like, "Hey, how'd you feel today?" "Oh, well, the number 21 M&M Chevy did really good today."
Exactly. That's exactly, and that's
so like if you ask one of the players, be like, "Hey, Jim, what do you think of the game coach called today?" "Oh, the Haggerty family football head coach there, he did really good today."
Yeah, not happening.
And again, the way that it's written is so funny because it's like, is he the head coach of the Haggerty family football team?
Well, he is now.
Well,
like, does he get to go to their? Does it go to their turkey bowl on Thanksgiving and say like, "Michelle, go run a wheel route"? What is
like it's kind of like when University of Phoenix sponsored the the Cardinals.
University
the Cardinals
of Phoenix Stadium.
Yeah, and it
is not
like,
a stadium for the college.
Exactly. I don't know. It's.
With NASCAR,
this is just weird. This is just weird. I don't know. What did you say, Zach? Gastrel GTX, head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Right, because I was trying to think of our favorite new NFL football coach. I don't even know his name. The guy that wants to bite all the knees in Detroit.
Campbell.
So it's just like, the O'Reilly Auto Parts head coach of the Detroit Lions.
I like Gastrel GTX. Even better, Mike. I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was thinking like we could go around like the NFL and try to think of different sponsors for different coaches.
I think it would be funny.
The Taco Bell head coach of your Arizona Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury.
That's about right for that team.
Funnier to use like all those horrible ads you hear on podcasts, like
Blue Apron, Casper mattress,
the Casper mattress, or the Blue Apron head coach,
the loot box head coach.
Right.
What if the coach gets like in a giant perverted sex scandal? What are they still going to call him the Haggerty family coach?
Family head coach.
The Michael Haggerty family head coach, really Taggart, accused of running an orgy with.
He has to go out. He has to go out.
25 underage co-eds, you don't want that.
Bound by the ethics of comedy to go do this now. He must go out and do something wrong so we can call him that when he's arrested. He's got to do it. It's on you, Willie Taggart. You can become an immortal. Speeding ticket. Doesn't have to be anything serious. Speeding ticket, run a red light, whatever. Just do it.
I love it. Chaos Blast suggestion. The Washington Haggerty family. That's a great name for the new football team.
Can we get their faces cut out and put on a football helmet? Like,
oh, that would be so great.
Well, I also have to know, like, going forward, whenever Willie Taggart is eventually fired from FAU, on his resume, does it have Oregon head coach, Florida State head coach, Florida Atlantic Haggerty family football coach? Like,
probably. He's the first.
Well, kind of going off what was mentioned earlier, like, this family has this kind of money and this is what they spend it on?
Well, it's a trifle. They have.
How much they spend for this?
$2.5 million. Just a measly $2.5 million.
$2 million to name the head football coach of freaking Florida Atlantic. after your family.
It's all. I'm sure it's like minor laundering. You know, these fucking people are no doubt. I don't know. These anybody who has this kind of bullshit money to spend on this is like, how can I diversify my money to avoid paying taxes? Oh yeah, I'll throw a few million towards this bullshit.
A side effect of this, and this was something my girlfriend brought up, is she's not a fan of paying the players. So let's qualify it with that.
Okay.
But she was saying, what sort of dark road could this lead us down? Do we all of a sudden have the, all-state good hands quarterback of your Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yep.
Is Justin Fields or whatever?
Once you've popped the cork, man, you can't get
the Doritos tight end for your Florida Gators is
and you throw in the name, image, and likeness stuff. I mean, that's what
I mean.
It can go. That's the thing with these high schools too. With the like Bishop Sycamore, to go back to that for a sec. They're not part of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. What's to stop them from giving all these kids sponsorships? Not that anybody.
There was a kid in Louisiana that graduated high school a year early,
right,
so that he could go get his NIL money from Ohio State.
Yeah, well, makes a fellow proud to be a Buckeye. Let me tell you.
Hey, now we can say with full authority, they ain't there to play school.
No, Ardell Jones way ahead of his time.
So the slippery slope thing with that, I feel like it has its limits, because I mean, if you listen to any, especially an NFL game on the radio, every single action is sponsored. So like, and that Bears first down is brought to you by Binny's Beverage Depot. Get a first down every time you shop at Binny's. Like they can't. That player taking a shit, that's brought to you by this. So I mean, like, everything has a sponsor. Everything there, and it's already sponsored. So if you have every inside slant caught for 13 or more yards, gets like a fucking Doritos logo on the screen. It's like, well, where does it end? You gotta give people room to talk.
What though? When I was a radio program director, I mean, I've said, as long as it fits what we do, it's all for sale. You can sponsor whatever you want. Which is how we got like the Casper, all request drive at 5, Casper Chevrolet, and all this other stuff. And the one that pisses me off that I never thought of was, I was listening to the local classic rock station one day, and they're like, coming to you live from the Harley Davidson studios. And went, fuck, I never thought of selling the studio. But yeah, you're right. Where does it end? At what point?
Yeah. Well, what was it? The Florida Panthers had the Lexus Ice at M&T Bank Arena.
Yes.
Or whatever it was for a few years. And I know, they did. Out here at the LA Coliseum, you cannot sponsor the Coliseum. But it was like United Airways Field at the LA Memorial Coliseum.
Well, it's like with the Cleveland Brown Stadium. I think they've even finally given in on that, but for the longest time it was always going to be Brown Stadium, but you could sponsor a gate. Like
the Jaguars did that too with the field recently, didn't they? Yeah,
and the field and all this other stuff. But I don't know what kind of value as a sponsor you would get out of something like that. I mean,
they say your name once in a while.
I suppose
it's visibility. Like, again, I get it for stadiums and even fields and arenas and parts of pregame shows and whatever. I don't understand sponsoring the head coach position. Like, what exactly does this get you? Because, like, I understand if you're a family and you've donated money to the school and they want to put your name on a library, what the hell ever.
Yeah.
What is this? Like, this isn't even a thing. It's just like, it's not like it's the Haggerty Family Athletics Complex or the Haggerty Family Coaches Facility.
I think there's a lot of bad visuals here. I really do. The Haggerty, Willie Taggart, is he an African American? I'm not sure.
Yes, he is.
Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, the Haggerty family head coach, Willie Taggart. That's not great optics, folks. I'm sorry, but it's not. And maybe I'm seeing way too much into it, and call me woke or whatever, but I see that and I go, this doesn't look right to me. And I'm not.
Greg, you got to watch out. When you go woke, you lose, or so I hear.
Well, then I'm going to lose, I guess, because in this particular case, and again, I'm not saying there was anything nefarious behind this or whatever. I'm just saying that the optics of it don't look great. It looks like they went out and bought themselves a black guy. I mean, as simple as that, to me.
I think it'd be hilarious if he, I think it'd be hilarious if he showed up on Thanksgiving and started, having them run drills. Like,
I'm just saying, I think it's a bad idea, top to bottom. Just sponsoring the head coach is, it's stupid, which is the biggest reason not to do it. But it also can lead to some things that, again, I don't think there's anything wrong here. Well, the right person could look at this and go, this doesn't look good.
I mean, look at it from the kid's perspective. Your head coach is like usually like an ad hoc father figure in their lives. Bought, you know, it's just like this is a leader of men whose fucking title is besmirched and whored to some rich fuck who's like using daddy's money to buy the name. Like what a bunch.
I for one in the Tostino's pizza rolls bottom left square will not stand for this.
I'm just curious. You brought that up, Andy. Like, in the locker room, like if a kid wants to talk to coach, they're like, "Hey, coach, like, is there gonna be some guy from the school who's gonna like run in?" It's like, nope, you got to refer to him as the Haggerty family head coach.
Well, I would love if somebody from the Haggerty family is like, Mom, Dad, what should I make for dinner? Or and it's like, I don't know, ask Coach.
He's the family coach.
He's the family coach. He's gonna tell us what to do. That's the way I like to read, is that he's the coach of this family.
Of the family, yeah.
He's the family coach. That's how I'm going to choose
Moonlight as the coach of a Division I football team. No, I don't understand what you're trying to get out of this. The Haggerty family in particular. And I don't think that Willie Taggart got all that money.
Oh, Andy, I like your Bagel Bites avatar.
There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Bagel Bites top right corner for me here. That's thankfully, I'm proud. I'm honored to partner with Bagel Bites for my audio, my avatar for this particular thread.
Well, Andy, it's good to see that you've partnered with a product that you believe in.
Yeah,
you can't be bought, Andy. Clearly, this is from your soul.
Well,
right, hold on.
Scrambling, going, where's my Lucky Strikes logos that I use for the?
Hold on, I just got a text from Venmo here. All right, looks everything's okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, Bagel Bites, great stuff.
But no, I think that if sponsoring a head coach is a bad idea to start, but wouldn't it make more sense if he was like, I don't know, the Pennzoil head coach or the Sunoco, or I'm trying to think of other brand names.
It's the equivalent of somebody trying to get a library named after them on campus, and it's
but I don't know. I mean, just
like, why can't you call it like the Haggerty family locker room or something? Why sponsor a man?
That's
a building.
That's what I mean.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like okay, like you sponsor a library. Like I feel like that gives your family a certain image. Like
I need to know who came up with the idea. Was it the family that said we want to sponsor the coach?
Yes.
Was it FAU that said we're offering a sponsorship of our coach? Like what?
I from what I've seen, it was the donor who said we want the coach. We want the coach title.
And that's so weird. Why not just?
You can tell the dumb rich people no sometimes.
Like, okay, if you're the university, then right, and they come to you like, hey, we want to sponsor the football coach. My first response would be like, what? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like,
we can put your name on the goalpost.
Like, you wanna sponsor the guy?
Or like, do you want your name on his headset? I don't understand.
Yeah, no. It's like we could use a new library. Do you wanna put your name on that?
Here's the thing. Look at this though. Okay, so we've seen the picture. If there are two whiter people in America, I have yet to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And they go out and they say, we want this. We want to give the university a nice endowment of X amount of dollars. No, we want to sponsor your coach. And it's like, I just think the optics are bad. I don't.
I understand. I understand, but like again, just saying, like, if I were the dean of the school and like these two walked into my office and said, we would like to sponsor your football coach, I would ask them to repeat the question because it would not register with me what they were asking.
Right. Well, I would also want to know what the conversation was like with Willie Taggart. Yeah. Hey, Willie, you got a minute there? Yeah, what's up?
These two white people want to buy you.
Well, so here's the thing. I don't have it for sure. So I could have just been totally wrong on that. But I think what they might have done was gotten the all clear with Taggarty, and then basically auctioned the title.
That's even worse.
That really makes it sound better.
Well, I'm just saying, there's no good way. There's no good of course, logic to this. It's all crap. But it does bode like if this starts happening though, or like a lot, then we need to the NCAA. I mean, whatever's left of it needs to kind of figure out do we really want to go down this road where every fucking thing has a little bit of a kickback somewhere, whether it's a donor or a namesake or a advertisement. It's just gross.
Oh no, he did have a statement in the release.
Okay.
So again, this is so funny. So this is up from the FAU website, and just going down, it says statement from Michelle and Michael Haggerty, statement from Florida Atlantic University president, statement from FAU vice president and athletic director, statement from Haggerty family head football coach Willie Taggart. We can't thank Michelle and Michael Haggerty enough for their generous support of the football program. I'm honored to hold the title of Haggerty family head football coach. We are also very grateful for their belief in the vision of the all capital letters here, proper nouns, Chasing Greatness program. We're committed to making sure every one of our student athletes has the best possible experience during their time at FAU. This program is vitally important to our efforts on the field, blah, blah, blah. I'm honored to have the title of someone else's family's head coach.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's
it is just funny to go Florida Atlantic president, Florida Atlantic athletic director, Haggerty family head coach.
I mean, of course he's going to say that after the deal's done. But again, Zach, like you said, I want to hear what the conversation was with him when this first came up. I
want to hear what the Haggerty family said.
No.
Well, and then I just saw a great tweet. In reference to when people are like, "Hey, don't call me
Sorry,
Nick, it's coach." don't call me, or Deion Sanders got all mad, don't call me Deion, call me coach. So this tweet, as you can probably follow along, don't call me Willie, it's Haggerty football coach or Haggerty family football coach. It's okay, yeah, all right.
I just find the whole thing very odd. NASCAR, it makes sense because NASCAR is entirely sponsor driven. So you've got to do that shit or you don't get the money. You don't get to put the car on the road. This doesn't make any sense. This is just a money grab by somebody or, by the school.
So I saw a tweet that said, Dr. Brock, family of dentistry head football coach, Ryan Day. It rolls right off the tongue.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I sent a link in there of the couple of McCloskeys or whatever from St. Louis, the ones that pulled the fucking AR-15 and the
isn't the guy the husband running for Congress now?
Yeah, of course he's got a political career in front of him.
He needs to put that gun. He either needs to learn how to handle that gun or put it away before he hurts himself. One of the two.
Man, he's protecting his home from.
No, he wasn't. The only thing he was doing was getting ready to blow his own fucking foot off. Is what he was getting ready to do. Anyway,
protect his winter home from the blacks that were nearby. Scary.
Yeah, as they were walking by, not doing a fucking thing. So. You all for walking by and not doing a fucking thing.
So I do have. We don't do it right now, but I do have the big 4 3-way thing. But I've got a twist on it this week for you guys.
Okay.
So we can.
I wanted to bring up, but I can't.
So we can shelve it for now.
Yeah. Anything else big happen besides the Haggerty?
Well, I mean, there's
we didn't talk about the Coyotes in Glendale.
The Coyotes in Glendale, and there's the SEC Super League.
Oh, I'm sorry, we've run out of time for the SEC again this week.
Well, I mean, now would be a good time
for the first week of the season. Well, I guess that's this Saturday, isn't it?
Okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I don't care. We can talk about it. I don't know much about it. I kind of checked out on the whole thing, but
now we also have the SEC Super League and the Alliance.
This sounds like a Marvel DC kind of thing.
No, I was gonna say this sounds like a wrestling thing, like when it was the WWF versus the Alliance in 2001. Geez.
Okay, let's talk about this because I have a couple of questions and maybe you can answer them, Zach. What happens to the Max and the Mountain Wests and the
they don't. They just don't.
They wither and die.
So they're basically now their goal is to get to the Detroit Bowl every year.
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate end game of this is that there will be 3 levels of Division I football. Essentially, you'll have the Power Fives, the actual championship contenders.
Right.
You will have the mid tiers that are playing for the Little Caesars Bowl, and then you have the championship subdivision. Like that's what's it'll send. Like, I don't know if they'll ever officially break up the bowl subdivision into the 2 parts, but you
might as well.
What they're doing. Yeah, you might as well. You like again. When we talked about like the European Super League, and that's what we're comparing it to. European soccer is really the only thing that I can compare to doing this. So I think like ultimately what we're looking at is a situation where the Premier League as it exists right now in England has not been the Premier League for perpetuity. What was up until about 89 or 90 when the Premier League started, there was the top division of English football, and there were all the teams that were making more money than everybody else, and they were like, we're tired of being subject to X, Y, and Z, so we're going to make the Premier League and make more money and keep it to ourselves. And so they broke away, made the Premier League, and the English Football Association bent over backwards essentially to keep everything in its structure. So now the Premier League is still part of the multi-tiered structure that is the English soccer pyramid, but it is still like the cream of the crop, the elite of the elite that make the most money, and nobody else gets to play around with our money. And so that's what I see ultimately happening in college football, where you will have the elite schools, or in this case, probably just the elite conferences, so that, God forbid we don't waste away our North Carolina versus Vanderbilt games that we could throw in there at some point. But you will have the Power Five break away, make their own thing, and then everybody else will just be left to fend for the Midwest American MAC Championship Bowl, sponsored by RC Cola,
Haggerty family.
Well, right. Here's my Haggerty family bowl, right?
God, please make that happen. My thing is that if you're going to do this, okay, let's say that you're going to have the Power Five break off into their own thing. And I know this won't happen, but I think it'll be only fair to go, okay, you guys want your own thing? Then guess what? You get to all play each other. No more of like loading up on the Ball States and the Central Michigans and the...
No, that's the idea with this alliance, right? And they're not doing it immediately because this is all a handshake and a wink.
I love that it's being called the alliance. I don't know. There's
no agreement on paper for this because they already have so many things in place for so many years, as you know, with college football scheduling. So the idea is that going forward, when those open dates start to come, these conferences, because now they're positioning it as everybody else versus the SEC, and so you're going to have the Pac-12 only schedule non-conference games against the ACC or the Big Ten, and I guess the Big 12 gets to be invited while it still exists. And that's the idea, is they will play games against each other, and they just won't play the SEC, and they'll try to be the best of themselves, and then try to take down whatever juggernaut the SEC produces at the end of the year.
You know what? I'm okay with that if that's the way they want to go with this. But I don't think you should be allowed to say, okay, or we've got a 28-team SEC or whatever the fuck it's going to be, and guess what? We're only playing 5 conference games because we want to pump up our records. And then, on the little guys and play each other and hope for the best. No. If you're going to do this, do it right. If you're going to really set yourself apart and say we're the best of the best, prove it. Go the NFL route where you don't get to play Alabama. You get to schedule Ohio State at least every other year, or whatever. Michigan, you've got to play USC right on down the line. And, Tennessee's got to do this.
In the event that a super league was formed where you do break off the Power Five, that's what would have to happen to make this worth anybody's while. But I mean, you and I both know how the finances of these things all work. That would be devastating.
You would. Yeah, you're right.
Those cupcake schools, because that's where they make their money, is by getting their shit kicked in by Alabama for 4 quarters. Here's your $100,000. Go have a good science program or whatever you're saving.
Nerds.
Right. I don't know. I think the thing that only truly bothers me about this is that it is that it has become an everybody versus the SEC, because the only way that the rest of these conferences can now compete is if they do form their own sort of mega conference themselves to combat what the SEC has become. Because it's not just that the SEC has or will have 16 teams, it's that the SEC will have brands. It will have Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, for even what that's worth, and then addition to Texas and Oklahoma State, or Oklahoma, and Texas A&M for what that is as well. Like, that was a brand unto itself, smaller than Texas and Oklahoma, but still.
Yeah, but if I was them, I'd be mad as hell right now that those two.
Oh, A&M is pissed. Yeah, because they specifically left the Big 12 to get away from those two jerks, and now we're in a spot where
you can recruit with the SEC in your back pocket, where now it doesn't matter again. Yeah,
we're the only SEC school in Texas. Well, not anymore.
Nope.
Like, I'm happy that we can get the Texas, the UT A&M games back. That I'm sad that we lost those as a son of an A&M alum, but I think for the health of the Texas A&M football program, it's the worst thing that could have happened to them. Yeah.
There needs to be, like, I would assume what could be beneficial is essentially just a massive restructuring that is kind of reminiscent of, I don't know, maybe like 80s territorial wrestling kind of things, to where you have your small potato schools essentially like loan out their teams to be trod upon by the gods of the football money. And, just to kind of fund their shit for a while. And you just sort of cycle these teams in and among the football lords to get crushed. I don't know. I don't know college football nearly as well enough to like be overly useful in this conversation, but because it is kind of a Wild West right now, I do kind of want to see just what happens. Because honestly, I think that there's already been a sense of sameness with college football for a good 20 years, where it's just same old shit, same old teams. We tried to have a robot and computer do it. Didn't really work. We tried to have a playoff. It didn't really work because it wasn't really much of a playoff. Like, it's just kind of has never worked. And now I don't know what the point is in trying to decide who's the best at the end of the year, because really the same teams are always the winners anyway, as far as like not only in the record books, but with the money and the revenue they swallow up.
I would like to see, again, my hope is, and Zach's right, this is going to really hurt the mid-levels, like the UTs, the Toledo's, when I say UTs, and the Boise States, what are some of the other ones out that way? Fresno State, fun schools to watch, but
Central Carolina.
Those guys, they're a thing now, aren't they? Eastern Carolina,
the Chanticleers, man.
Right, exactly. But
Coastal Carolina, that's what it is.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina. The Middleton, or was it Middleton or Memphis, or are they part of one of the big conferences?
Memphis is part of the American. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but teams like that, which are fine programs, but are going to be, if you can't like pocket that $500,000 to play to get your ass kicked by Alabama or whatever it's going to be, I don't know what that means to them. So it'd be kind of cool to see them get their own thing where they don't have to go out and get their asses kicked and lose 2 games just to make money every year, or you get like a more competitive balance at the lower levels and a more competitive balance at the top. But financially, I think it's gonna be a weird thing to navigate for the smaller schools, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like, I mean, it would suck. It would suck to get rid of that element, that you do lose the Boise States, the what was Utah,
right,
from this whole thing. But
you see,
are we kidding?
Ago,
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that if there is this complete restructuring of it all, and we can kind of get rid of the pretenses of some of these things, fine. And if you really want to make just this elite college football thing, that's fine. I think it does lose some of the magic of the game, and it does lose the opportunity of what they were going to do now with the playoff, and you could have a 12th seeded team, go up against Alabama and lose, but in theory, at least give them a shot to play against any of these other schools that have been ranked so high all season, and we just assume we'll win because you never know. I mean, there could be an upset. There could be your Boise State over Oklahoma. These things have happened, but now you're just taking away that element entirely, and especially even more so if you do the thing of scheduling only against other power conference teams. Then I guess you're rooting for Iowa State to take down Oregon or something. Like, is that what you're going to replace that mid-level school with? Just
I don't know, but if
the lower level, like, because there's always in all these conferences, there's those lower teams, right?
Right. I mean, like if I'm Rutgers or Vanderbilt right now, I'm going fuck. We thought it was bad before.
Yeah, I mean, poor Vanderbilt. They have they've taken their lumps. They've got a good baseball team.
Yeah, but but those poor bastards. I mean, at least they were able to schedule 3 or 4 games they could win every year before they went into the meat of their schedule.
Yeah,
if we go this route, forget it.
Well, the other interesting thing about this alliance too is what this ultimately means for some of these.
The alliance
is they're going to have to cut based on how the schedules work. They'll actually have to cut back on conference games, like the Pac-12, for example. They were doing a thing where they were playing like 10 out of the 12 schools would play each other.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to have to go back to cutting it back down to 8 like it used to be and adding more non-conference dates so that you can make this all work. So there's a lot of logistics to it. And again, it's all handshake, wink, wink, spit in the palm sort of stuff. None of this is binding by any means. So I have a feeling that this, not that the landscape of college football wasn't tumultuous enough, but this is not anywhere close to the last step in this process. Nor will it ever stop changing, I think. Even if we got to the mega league of your Power Fives like that, this is something that will be in flux forever.
I think,
and now we're even talking about like these conferences that do exist. Like the Pac-12 is talking about expanding. The Big 12 will either disintegrate entirely or have to find schools that are.
The Big 12 is going to end up like Poland. It's just going to be partitioned.
Well, the Big 12,
seriously. You're going to have to sell part of it to the Big 10 and the rest of it to the Pac-12 because once you get rid of Texas and Oklahoma, hey, let's fight over Baylor. Like TCU. Baylor and TCU are your marquee teams, and it's like that's not.
Isn't Oklahoma State
to fight over?
Oklahoma State's still there, right?
Yeah.
What are the other ones? Fuck, Iowa State. Are they in the Big 12?
Iowa State is Big 12. Nebraska's Big 10 now.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. Michael Walker brings up a good point. With just the big boys playing each other, how many seasons will we have teams with 3 or 4 losses in the playoffs? I'm going to say a lot. If they want to put their money where their mouth is, that's the way it should be. It really. I like Alabama. It's easy to go. I mean, what was it, Zach? We used to call it like their warm-up game before they played Auburn. Where they would play like some fucking.
Oh, they always played the Citadel.
Yeah. The Citadel, yeah, which is like really. That's like IMG playing the Bishop Sycamore. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
But we'll see. I mean, it might not be as bad as it sounds. It might be fine. I don't know. I just worry for the mid-level schools because I like a lot of them. I'm an alumnus of one of them, and I don't want to see like the football programs that aren't Ohio State and Michigan and Texas and Oklahoma and Alabama and Auburn and all that just disappear. I don't know if that'll happen.
I think because people like money, I think the bowl matchups would still remain intact. Like you would probably still get the MAC giving an opportunity to play the 5th place team for the Big 10 or whatever. I think those things would still exist because they can essentially. I don't know. It's just why does it have to be the SEC? Why Texas and Oklahoma are freaking Texas and Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Why? I know money, but why do they have to do this? Because they don't. They simply don't. Because now, if anything, I guess they might get more money, but like in terms of being on the field.
Oh, they're
never going to win the SEC.
To make another wrestling comparison, it's why Hulk Hogan joined the New World Order, man. You gather all the big boys at the top, and you make all the money for yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if Texas is happy being 6-5 every year and making all the money in the world.
Playing Toledo in the Little Caesars Bowl.
I guess, like, sure.
I mean,
good for the Longhorns and the Sooners, but like, as someone that still somehow believes that the point of sports is to try to win the game, in my best Herm Edwards voice, you play to win the games.
Yeah.
I hate that aspect of it.
Well, listen,
like, I like the fact that Texas and Oklahoma, despite the fact they'd be playing a lesser Big 12, they could fight themselves to be one of those teams in the playoff and then prove that they're worth it and see if it was ultimately worth it. Instead, they're going to lose to Alabama in like week 6, and then it's not going to matter. So, like, I don't know. Why bother? If you're going to keep consolidating everything into the SEC, just consolidate it all and make every single game matter versus eliminating some of these schools that, despite some lack of recent success like Texas, that they do have that pedigree of being a blue blood of college football. Let them, at least be that to some degree. But now they can't.
Well,
because they're not going to out-recruit Alabama in the same area either.
No, no, it's.
I think sadly what needs to happen to fix this, because otherwise it's just like, okay, top tier players, they're all going to Alabama. That's just it. They're all going to the same like 3 schools. Is that you basically at the NFL, you essentially say like, yeah, we'll you guys can come straight out of high school. We'll take you.
Yeah.
There needs to be.
I don't know why the NFL at this point isn't even or hasn't truly considered a minor league like that, like developmental league.
I don't think there's going to be any sort of development. I think they'll just take them. I think they'll expand the roster and take them.
I think for the safety of these people, I don't think you could do that. I think
college football, though, Zach, provides. But why would you create your own minor league when college football is provided you such one that's not only works
revenue
stream, well, but is a gigantic revenue stream? I mean, who would you?
Yeah, but I mean, like they could get
Trojans or the. I don't know, the Sacramento fucknuts or whatever of the league in the NFL.
Hey man, I love my alternative spring football league. I would I'd go for the Sacramento fucknuts.
Well, I'm not saying it'd be a spring football sort of thing, but in the vein of like an NBA G League, and basically instead of letting Alabama collect all that money, you make an Alabama team and you pay them and you say, hey, all the top prospects are no longer going to Alabama; they're going to play for the Birmingham Iron. And it's like, I think
the Birmingham Iron American Vulcans of
I think if you could promise that those top players aren't going to the colleges anymore, that they are going to your paid league,
right?
I think that could change the way that works. Like if you're getting all the 5-star recruits, then if you get a team that could, in theory, actually beat Alabama on the field, then you're talking.
Right.
But if it's just like the other ones that aren't going to Alabama, then no, it's not worth anybody's time.
Yeah. You've got to find a way to get the best of the best to do, like what baseball basically does, where, okay, I don't think they have much of a choice in baseball, but like Mike Trout played minor league ball before he went to the Angels, right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, he played AA. Yep.
So yeah, but what you need the guys like the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Fields. You need those guys playing in your developmental league as opposed to for Ohio State and Clemson, is what you're saying, basically.
Yes, I think that's the only way that works. And I mean, I think a direct paycheck might be a different thing than, hey, yes, you're going to get your NIL money and you're going to get whatever money or perks you get for being the starting quarterback at Ohio State, but now you don't have to go to class. Not that you really have.
Right.
Now you actually don't have to go.
That's it. That's your job.
Exactly.
Birmingham had a CFL team too.
Yeah, the Barracudas.
Jesus, damn, man. Always a bridesmaid.
Well, I mean, we still have yet to hear of the XFL returning, the USFL, whatever the fuck they're doing. There may be some just, who knows? I mean, like the XFL, if it would have not been murdered by the pandemic, who the hell knows? We could very viably have said, like, that seems to be a legitimate option for this, guys who don't give a shit about the facade of going college. But I just don't think the NFL has any interest in any of that. I don't think they care. They're making billions.
Yeah, they don't need to.
We've already seen it though. I mean, like IMG and the Bishop Sycamore and schools like that are clearly for kids that don't give a fuck about going to school. They just want to play football. Why is it that college is the only place that this isn't happening? I mean, it is basically, but it's not as open.
Well, again, even at IMG, like they still have to pass classes, like whether they fudge the documents or not. They still have school that they need to do to actually qualify for the other school that they're trying to get to.
Yeah, but
and it's all I'm sure it's all base level stuff.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Do you think that it's as tough as say like what's that, Exeter? The
right.
school?
Well, look, I think it's different things. So like,
well, nothing's on the level of Bishop Sycamore. So
talking
real educational powerhouse.
They're like Rutgers. It's like it sounds like wow, that sounds like a really. It's like no, it's fucking New Jersey State, man. Come on.
Speaking from what I can attest to from personal experiences, like IMG again is a pure sports academy.
Right.
I don't know the level of their academics. I'm sure they just do the base level to get them into whatever school they're trying to get into. Out here at like say Modern Day, which is again the number one school in the country in terms of football, they have a pretty rigorous academic portion of their life that they have to do. And these kids, like, yes, they do go to USC, and starting quarterback is going to be the starting quarterback at Alabama here soon. But they also have more kids that go to Stanford, more kids that go to Northwestern, or whatever.
Yeah,
or even like the local school that's in the same league but is kind of lesser. That's by me, Jay Sarah. They have this pipeline to Penn and the Ivy League and to Yale, and so like they produce really smart kids that are also pretty decent at football. So it's there is a balance to be found as like an educational institution, and then there are places like IMG that say why make up the facade at all and just make kids that are there to go earn their NILs and get off to the NFL as fast as possible.
Well, there you go. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
So should we do three-way, four-way, or whatever it's called?
Sure. So the what?
Big 4x3-way.
Big 4 3-way.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. So this one's a little different.
3x4-way.
You're confusing me with all these numbers. Stop it.
7x6. 2x4.
You're just buying lumber now. So I made questions for each of you.
Okay.
Based on what I believe is your favorite team.
Oh.
And then there'll be one collective one you can all answer together.
All right.
So who would like to go first?
I can go.
Okay. So this is about the Anaheim Ducks.
Okay.
And you may know this immediately, so I don't know. Who was the first Duck to win the Hart Memorial Trophy?
Corey Perry.
In what year?
Oh, God. What year? 2010?
Yes. Yeah, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking for something I didn't know.
First and only.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, anyway, that was I'll have to get one harder next time for that. Greg or Mike, who would like to go?
I'll go.
Okay, Mike, Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right.
After the Leafs traded his best friend on the roster, this 1980 team captain infamously ripped the C off of his sweater and resigned his captaincy. Who was it?
1980 captain, Daryl Sitter.
Sittler, yeah, Daryl Sittler. Very good.
Yeah.
Scored 6 goals in a game once, right, Mike?
He did, yeah.
I know.
Wasted on a lot of shit 80s Leafs teams, but yeah, one of the all-time greats.
All right, Greg, is Ohio State.
Oh boy.
This player and Ohio native, the first freshman starting tailback since Herschel Walker to lead a national championship team in rushing. Who was the player and what was the year?
That would be Maurice Claret.
Yep.
Is that right? And
that's correct.
2002.
Yeah, well done. All right. I'm picking much harder questions.
The famous Miami Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. We got lucky, so fuck off, all right? So.
Okay. Final question for all you guys to kind of pull your collective knowledge. Name all of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks from the Super Bowl era who did not win a Super Bowl.
Philip Rivers, Dan Marino. Well, wait, Philip Rivers is in the Hall of Fame.
Philip Rivers is not in the Hall of Fame, no.
I'll
do this. Dan Marino.
Yep.
Let me think here. Not Lynn Dawson. Oh wow, this is tougher than I thought.
Was that right with Jim Kelly?
Jim Kelly is one of them. Yes.
Frank Tarkenton.
And Tarkenton. Yep. 2 more.
Right. I was gonna say Stabler, but he won one. Hall of Famer that didn't win.
Joe Montana. Tom Brady.
No, it's not a cowboy.
No Cowboys.
Shit. Hall of Famers?
Yep.
Didn't win. Dan Fouts never made a Super Bowl, so he's out.
Dan Fouts.
Johnny Unitas?
Dan Fouts is one of them. Dan Fouts never won a Super Bowl.
But he never. Oh, I thought you meant Hall of Famers that played in the Super Bowl but never won it.
No, sorry. Yeah. I meant Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Dan Fouts.
One more. You guys missing one more.
Oh shit! Who would it be? Let me see.
Marino, Tarkenton, Fouts, Kelly. One more.
It was almost looking like it was going to be John Elway there for a moment,
right?
Till the end.
I think this player retired in the mid '90s. I want to say maybe late '90s.
Oh,
hell of an arm. Multiple teams.
Jeff George? I don't know.
No.
He was part of a team that was, again, like, it's hard. I don't want to give it away though. I'm trying to think of a good hint.
Boomer Esiason? No, not Boomer Esiason.
No, I looked it up. Played in the CFL.
Oh, Warren Moon.
Yeah, Warren Moon.
Yeah.
Well done. That's this week's apparently far too fucking easy trivia. I'll find some. Go back to the more generic routes next week.
Well, when you said Ohio State, I was like, oh god, because I mean, I'm a fan, but I don't know a whole lot of the history. So I just got lucky on that question because it was the freshman running back Maurice Clarett.
You got lucky about a championship that they got lucky to win.
Exactly, yeah. Which is why 2014 was so great because it was like there was no doubt about that one.
Yeah.
But Maurice Clarett, who got in a lot of trouble after that game, and I actually met at the Ohio State Fair, and he's trying to straighten his life out, and good for him. But dude's a lot smaller.
Is he a carny now? Is that
no?
I met what you said. You met him at the fair. So.
The state fair. Yeah, he was part of the Ferris wheel. No, there were a bunch of Buckeye players there that not exhibit, but a place where like they would sell books.
Exhibit.
An exhibit building where they would sell like their autographs, some of them in written books and stuff like that. It was where I tried on. I can't remember his name now. It was one of the guys that played for the 2002 national championship team. I tried his ring on, and it got stuck on my finger. I mean, like literally, like stuck. Like, oh fuck, I have to cut my finger off to get this thing off. But that's where I met Maurice Clarett. He was pimping a book. He was there for. That's what he was there for. Running the Ferris wheel would have been a way better story. I think that would have been so awesome.
Wasn't Maurice Clarett? He had like a bunch of like I feel like a lot of memes from that era where he was like doing the 40 because he ran a horrible 40 time.
Oh yeah, he fought the underclassmen rule against the NFL. Well, he wanted to go straight to the NFL after that freshman season. Yeah. And
he his 40 was so bad they photoshopped like to make it look like he was hauling like a semi truck behind him or something. It was one of the earliest exposure to internet memes back then.
Yeah,
poor Maurice Clarett.
I think if he had listened to smarter people, he might have had a decent career. But he just, I don't know. He got a lot of bad advice and got in trouble and all that.
I mean, how many sorry athletes can you say about that though? I mean, that's how many careers just ruined by.
Yeah.
Dopes who wanted to get in on their money train.
You got it. Yeah.
Well, so did you guys do some more movie watching or anything the last week?
I saw 2 movies actually. So yeah. So I saw Candyman.
Oh.
And then I saw
that's a quintessential. I will read the Wikipedia movie.
Yeah, I have thoughts on Candyman, and then I saw The Night House.
Are you talking like Candyman, the like the original, or is there a new one out?
There's a new
There's
one.
a new one.
Okay.
So they're doing that.
Produced by Jordan Peele.
Yeah. So basically what they did was they did what like all these long-running franchises have done, and they're like, okay, so this movie is a sequel to the first movie that's ignoring all the shit sequels that came out in the 90s.
Okay.
So, which is hilarious because it's just called Candyman. So I guess in this new chronology, it's Candyman and then Candyman.
Right. Right. Well, it's like they're doing that with the Halloween movies, right?
Yeah, so now it's like Halloween, and then like it's gonna be Halloween, and then I guess Halloween 2 again. It's weird, but
I think the new one's called Halloween Kills.
Yes. But Halloween is hilarious because there's like 10 different timelines in Halloween, depending on how you want to count it.
You want to listen to, right?
Yeah, But okay, so I saw Candyman and the Night House. I thought Night House was the better movie. Night House is a really good cerebral horror movie, actually. But Candyman probably has more interesting stuff to talk about because it tries to take Candyman, and it tries to use that story as a plot to talk about the gentrification of the ghettos.
Because isn't that what the original is sort of loosely about?
Yes.
Anyway?
Yes.
But this one is because I was listening to a movie podcast and they discussed it, and I'm never going to see it, but I guess the subtext is now like the text. Yeah,
no. Whereas in the original movie, it was very much the subtext. Here, it's like flat out screaming like this is what it means at you, and then but it's actually hilarious because like the main character is he's this up and coming artist, black guy, up and coming artist in Chicago, and they make a point to say that he's in something of a rut, and they make a comment. They make a few comments early in the movie about how his stuff is like not all that inspired because it's like they're basically saying it's like the commodification of the black experience in America, for art and profit has become like overdone. And he's like, and so like that's sort of like the criticism that he's dealing with, and he's got to try to, find something to get his mojo back, and he discovers the Candyman urban legend, and then that sets the plot of the movie off. Except that the movie itself is commodifying the black experience in America for profit and art. And so it's one of these things where it's like the movie is aware that it might be dealing with something that is played out and then tries to get around that by saying, oh, we acknowledge that it's played out, but here it is. Yeah. And then, in terms of Jordan Peele horror movies, I would put it above Us, which I didn't like at all, but it's not as good as Get Out. So,
no, not many things probably will be.
Yeah, and then The Night House is, again, a good cerebral horror movie that kind of deals with, coming to terms of grief and all that kind of stuff. So
the title Night House sounds like Outhouse. Like it just makes me feel like it's just about like a shit shack out in the woods or something.
In a very strained way, that's kind of accurate.
Okay, I'll take it. Chaos Blast inquires about the new Spider-Man trailer, which I'm curious about your thoughts.
The internet.
Yeah, whatever.
More views than the Endgame trailer. Crazy number.
No way.
I know people. Okay, well, I'll be the first to say that the Endgame trailer was kind of lackluster.
It had to be.
Yeah,
the Endgame trailer. They were like, we're just telling you. We're just saying, hey, the movie's coming out. These are the people that are in it, and we're not telling you what's happening. It's like,
but
okay, because we don't have to tell you a damn thing, and you're gonna come see it. Which is the same thing with this, but.
But like everyone in this, everyone's excited about Doc Ock coming back. I'm more excited for William Dafoe as the Green Goblin.
Oh, is he coming back? Is that?
Yeah.
So
that's what's implied.
Well, apparently they have Tobey Maguire is going to be making an appearance, like Willem Dafoe, and obviously
have they confirmed that Tobey Maguire is coming back?
From everything I've seen,
they haven't confirmed anything.
It's all it's all this like nudging of the elbow into the ribs kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why would
basically so there's basically the next step for the Marvel Cinematic Universe is diving into the world of the multiverse. So what you're going to have is you have Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus coming back. You have Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin coming back. You have Jamie Foxx's Electro coming back. You have potentially the Lizard or Sandman coming back. And additionally, you'll have Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And because of something that Doctor Strange did, all these different multiverses are crossing over.
They basically broke
all
the multiverse.
Spider-Man will fight. Right. All the Spider-Men are going to fight the Sinister Six from different universes all put together.
Okay.
All the movies existed in different timelines is the idea.
You know, this could really be fun-ish, but I just have a feeling it's going to be a headache. Like I'm getting it. My head hurts. Just
right.
thinking about
I
this.
don't want to sit down and watch a movie 5 times and take notes.
Well, the thought I had, right, was like, okay, so if the line is going to be that, you know, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies were a different timeline from the MCU,
a different universe,
you know, a parallel universe, then it's like I kind of want to go back and be like, okay, well then, what would the early 2000s version of like the Avengers be like? Like Matthew Perry as Iron Man with like shitty 2000 CGI. Like that's.
Oh no, I've seen some of those like what would be casting lists for back then, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like an actual casting list, but people like looking at the actors at the time and like fan casting them for what they could have been.
Right,
it's pretty fun.
I
don't know. I think there's no way this movie fails. Like I think there's the people in Marvel have been too good about this stuff, and even over especially the last several MCU movies, they've demonstrated the fact that they can balance having a lot of people in them in various different heroes. Like the Spider-Man obviously famously has Spider-Man 3, which infamously put too much shit in it.
Bad.
And that's what the problem was with it, is there was too much going on. And so you could say the same thing here that, well, there's too much going on. But I think they've been very good about finding a focus, and that focus would be what, you know, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And then just things in and through. Like I've loved what they've done with the shows so far. Like the TV shows that they have on Disney Plus have introduced us to the multiverse and the concept of it and how it's going to work. And I think we might get a little sprinkle of that in Shang-Chi next week. Might get even a little bit more sprinkle of that stuff in the Eternals in November. And then they can push the button and say, here, we've given you all the building blocks. We've given you the material. If you don't understand what's going on when we get to Spider-Man, sorry.
I'm going to. I'm actually going to be. I'm going to be there for Shang-Chi Day 1. Actually, I've already got my ticket. So, but yeah, the Spider-Man as the multiverse. Like I don't know. Like again, they just threw up that clip of Alfred Molina going "Hello, Peter" in his Doc Ock voice, and the internet like broke down. Yeah. So
I mean, and I think this trailer it's expertly edited, because I don't think anyone, if you only see one person and they're looking off screen at somebody else, I don't think they're looking at anyone you think they're looking at. Like I think when he says "Hello, Peter," I don't think he's talking to Tom Holland.
No, he's talking to Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, and even still, like you look at some of the breakdowns, like the Tom Holland that like goes in the spider stance right after that in the trailer, the suit he's wearing, suit and tie and jacket, is the same suit and tie and jacket that Tobey Maguire wears in Spider-Man 3. And and if you kind of look at Tom Holland's face in the trailer, it almost looks deep faked, that I would almost believe that they've edited all this stuff, or they've cut people out of it, because the other thing they did with the Infinity War and Endgame trailers was they CGI'd the crap out of these things to make scenes that didn't actually ever appear in the movie. So I think they're doing a major mess around with us as to what is and isn't in this movie, and they kind of have to. if what's supposed to be in this movie is in this movie. So
yeah, but then you have a one-off movie that makes for a pretty fun theater experience that like I would never want to watch again after that because it doesn't have the same impact, and it's just going to make me want to watch the first 2 Spider-Man with Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire. Like to me, those were the best. Those were the best Spider-Man movies.
But as we've seen now, and I think we're going to get this even more now that we're in phase 4 of the MCU. All of this is just another episode of the show that is the MCU.
Yeah, it's an episode of the Marvel show.
Because, the stuff that happened in the TV shows is going to affect this movie, and Doctor Strange is in this movie, and so what he does is going to affect his movie that comes out next March, because his movie is also already going to be influenced by what happened with WandaVision and Loki. And I know, it can be a lot, but if you're somebody that's on the train, it's great. It's a great ride. I'm enjoying the hell out of this stuff.
Take a goddamn break. Just fuck off.
Okay, so I've got two.
That's why I think you'll like Shang-Chi, and I think we'll like the Eternals, because even though there will be connections to everything else, they are new stories focused on one person, one thing, one group. It's something new for us.
I'm going to Shang-Chi to see the Mandarin because I was robbed of this in Iron Man 3.
Which they finally put that one shot
Park Mandarin, Mike?
Pardon?
You didn't like Hillbilly Mandarin?
No.
Okay.
No. And Marvel knew that we didn't like it, so they made a little special feature that they put out. I forget on what DVD a while ago.
It was Thor 2. It was Thor 2. They tried. It was to get people to buy the DVD for Thor: Dark World because that wasn't happening any other way.
And now that one shot, which is called, I believe, All Hail the King or something like that.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus now, so you can refresh yourself as to who the real Mandarin is before you go see.
And apparently the real Mandarin is Shang-Chi's dad, and they're going to have a real, I don't want your life, dad moment, which is going to be just beautiful.
Yeah, fun.
I'm legitimately hoping that this. I'm legitimately hoping that this is going to be some. I'm legitimately hoping this is going to be some, Dr. Evil and Scott Evil, father son shit, come give. I just want the Mandarin to run up to Shang-Chi, going come give Daddy a hug.
Oh, there he's back.
Sorry, click the wrong button. I didn't have a freak out because I'm just having a marvel.
I thought you might be oh no, too much.
No,
I'm done. Fucking, I'm out.
No. I just was closing a tab and clicked the wrong thing.
But the other thing that I want is you talk about all these crossovers with Spider-Man. It's can we just get Tom Holland's Spider-Man to cross over with Tom Hardy's Venom?
No. You know what though? Not even all that. This is the secondary thought I have about the trailer and the movie in general. I kind of feel bad for Tom Holland and his Spider-Man, because in every movie he has not been allowed to just
be Spider-Man.
Then in the first one, it's him and Iron Man. In the second one, it's him and Nick Fury. And now in this one, it's him and Doctor Strange and 2 other Spider-Mans. So eventually, I hope that we can get through this and he can go back to doing his spider life. And whatever Spider-Man 4 is, if we get to have him do that, it's him and Mary Jane doing a spider thing. Just Tom Holland's probably listen, I was kind of thinking, I just wanted, just a nice movie where I'm just being Spider-Man and stuff. And then they're yeah, we'll pay you $12 million. Okay, so I'm with how many Spider-Man am I with in this one? Okay, cool. Right.
All of the Spider-Men.
But that's what makes the first, especially the first Raimi Spider-Man, so good. I mean, it has its tacky moments, but I mean, he's dirt poor. He's a nerd. He's he's not doing great. And it's a good movie. I love that. I mean, you have Bonesaw.
Yeah,
Bonesaw is ready.
That's who needs the show. Unfortunately, because Randy Macho Man's already dead. But
that would have been the best crossover. Bonesaw comes through the dimensional portal.
I miss Tobey Maguire. What did he have some weird thing where he just kind of stopped making movies or got bad PR or something?
Yeah,
what happened to him?
Bad PR.
No, I think he just stopped making movies. You
No,
see
that
Biscuit, and that was it.
Molly Bloom poker book came out, and everybody knew it was him. She was talking about that. Didn't help him a whole lot either.
Oh yeah. Right, the
Yeah,
poker ring.
I thought he was in some movie where he was like a war veteran, Gulf War veteran. That was really good. I can't remember who he was, who he shared the screen with, but it was quite good. But I mean, I feel like, very talented guy. I love like Pleasantville. Love Pleasantville.
Pleasantville was cool. Yeah.
Actually, Zach, you say you feel sorry for Tom Holland. The one I feel sorry for is actually Andrew Garfield, because he's like the least favorite Spider-Man. Like everybody who likes the MCU loves Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Then Tobey Maguire has the nostalgia, but Andrew Garfield is just the other one.
You know what they say, Mike? You always want to be the replacement's replacement, and that's what Tom Holland does in this. Yeah.
So, Tobey Maguire has only made 7 movies since Spider-Man 3 came out in 2007. He had a cameo in Tropic Thunder.
What was he in Tropic Thunder?
Movie, he was himself, apparently.
I'm trying to remember that.
That movie was. I mean, I know that. Wow,
that movie was so good.
It really was.
At the risk of being
the movie.
I'm going to lose my Walt card, but it was fucking hilarious.
My very un-PC joke is something I saw on Tumblr, which is like, if you were going to cast Iron Man as a black guy, who would you cast? And someone just said Robert Downey Jr.
Really quick on that, I hesitate to call what he did blackface, because it was so clear it was a bit. It wasn't like, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It was so obvious.
He's not playing a black guy. He's playing a black guy. He's playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Yeah. Just, I can't really get that upset about it. I'm sorry. Plus, he fucking was brilliant doing it.
Yeah. I think the movie you were talking about, Andy, is called Brothers. That came out in 2009.
with the Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no way.
Then there was a movie called Details in 2011.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's funny about that is that Tobey Maguire got injured doing Seabiscuit or something like that, and so if he almost wasn't ready to go for Spider-Man 2, and the person that was going to be Peter Parker, if he wasn't able to go, was Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, they get confused for each other a lot, not all the time, but people do, like, oh, you're the guy from Spider-Man. He's like, no, I'm the dude from Brokeback Mountain.
The other, I mean, he's in some of these other movies, but the only big part he had since Spider-Man 3 and then Brothers was Great Gatsby in 2013.
Oh yeah,
right. That movie was ass.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Well, I mean,
he was in a movie called Pawn Sacrifice as Bobby Fischer in 2014.
Oh, okay.
And then he was a voice role in The Boss Baby.
Oh God, that's it.
Just remember, John Travolta on the trajectory of his comeback started as the voice, or starred in one of those movies, didn't he? Yeah, Bruce Willis was. I don't
Bruce
remember,
Willis was the baby. John Travolta was love interest. Yeah, that was
right. Yeah,
look who's talking.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is with Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is I feel like he was the best looking Spider-Man costume of all of them.
Oh yeah. No,
the look was perfect for Garfield's Spider-Man. As Spider-Man, though, he was far too like handsome and charming.
He was far too handsome and charming for, wallflower nerd Peter Parker to
like the whole.
So they tried to play him as like a geeky dork sort of thing, and it's like
he was a punk rock skater nerd. Is this not?
Yeah, and you know what? The thing with I never saw the Garfield Spider-Mans, but like the Tobey Maguire one, even though Peter Parker is supposed to be a teenager, he never struck me. He struck me as like a 24-year-old that had gotten these Spider-Man.
The Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans are hilarious because nobody is playing their age in those movies. Like you see, anytime there's like a group shot that's supposed to be like Peter Parker's high school class, they're all 30.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's kind of interesting about this movie, to bring it back to the current one that's coming out, Tom Holland is 25 years old for his third Spider-Man.
Yeah, but he still looks like he's 16.
Yeah,
right.
I was.
But again, he's 25 right now for his third movie. Tobey Maguire was 26 for his first movie.
Yeah.
So they fixed that part, but they also tried to make Tobey Maguire's grow up a little bit, because he by the time the second and third movies, he was in college.
Yeah,
he wasn't just in high school. And the Tom Holland ones, they made it pretty clear that he's progressing like 1 year at a time in high school. So
yeah,
like,
they
in
did.
theory, this is supposed to be his senior year.
And at least the high school students in the Tom Holland movies look like high school students. So there's that.
Even if they're in their 20s, they try to find kids with young faces to pretend to be 17.
Although, but yeah, if you ever, if you are gonna rewatch those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, just take a look at like the extras who fill out like the high school scenes. They're all like 30. It's hilarious.
Well, and you had Joe Manganiello, who was like supposed to be the Flash Thompson, and he's this hulking meat of a man.
Yeah, he's like 32 bodybuilder. And now Flash Thompson is like a mathlete. It's kind of hilarious.
What's up, Penis Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, hopefully I'm with you, Zach. Hopefully once we kind of, I guess, get this multiverse stuff out of our system, then they can do Spider-Man 4 and he can just be Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't know how I kind of feel like part of me is excited. Part of me is very excited to see William Dafoe as the Green Goblin again, because William Dafoe as the Green Goblin is a goddamn masterstroke of cinema.
Yeah, he's awesome. That whole first movie is perfect.
And as Chaos Blast reminds us, the best part of the Raimi series was J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh my god!
Who returns in these movies as J. Jonah Jameson.
So I got a story about that.
The Alex Jones Daily Bugle.
Yeah. So I have a story about that. When I saw Far From Home, everyone was waiting for the after credits sequence, and then they do the after credits sequence where it's like J. Jonah Jameson of the controversial news site, the Daily Bugle. J.K. Simmons pops up on screen, and the theater cheered.
Oh, an incredible moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone cheered because, in terms of in the breadth of the history of superhero movies, I don't think anyone has been as perfectly cast as J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
I'll never forget. I will always know the difference between slander and libel because of because he's like, what does he say? Something to the effect of
like Spider-Man was a menace. You can't say that. That's slander. I resent that. It's not, when it's not
slander. Slander is spoken. Print is libel. He's just like, and like I to this day, I always remember that. But he's perfect.
Yeah,
it was like it took him straight out of the comics. I thought.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons, it was perfect. Like, I mean, because once in a while in a comic book movie, you get the guy and you go, "Fuck, there was no other choice for this role but this guy." I think that was one of them.
Well, it is hilarious,
and that's why they had to bring him back for this, because it's just
because
any other J. Jonah would be lesser.
Well, I remember J. Jonah Jameson never appeared in the Andrew Garfield movies.
No.
And when it looked like the Andrew Garfield movies were going to be successful enough to be their own series, you had people contemplating, oh, well, who would you cast as J. Jonah Jameson? And nobody that they threw out was as good as J.K. Simmons. Like,
no.
But what I find funny is, we're doing this. Okay, so we're going to do this multiverse thing where all the Spider-Man timelines converge. J. Jonah Jameson is the only character to have the same actor. Is J. Jonah Jameson going to be a universal constant? He's always just J.K. Simmons.
Could be.
Yeah, he's like Wolverine. He just kind of shows up as he's immortal.
Yeah. He was so perfect for that role. I mean, as soon as I saw him, like, oh, you couldn't have done any better. You just couldn't have.
I need to go watch Spider-Man now, man. I want to watch.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking the same thing. I haven't seen it in years.
The problem is, like, they're spread across all the different streaming services, if they're even on there, because Sony sucks. So
Sony's shit. Yeah, so you can't. There's nothing streaming for the first three. The three Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Right. I think there's some like Netflix deal that expired that then they're like in the balance of maybe going to Hulu and then not Hulu, but like maybe like HBO or something. And then once that deal is over, Sony has an agreement with Disney for those films all the Spider-Man films will eventually, in like 5 years, they will
I think
all
I
live
might
on
have
Disney Plus.
the original on an old DVD somewhere. I'll have to check and see.
I got the 2002 DVD upstairs. That's totally what I'm going to watch. But yeah, there's going to be like a battle to all Spider-Man movies crammed in there for your various Blu-ray and whatnot.
Disney has the deal worked out with Sony, but Sony had all these other agreements already in place that they need to expire. So it'll happen in like 4 years.
So what are the chances that when Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker gets sucked into this dimensional portal that we get emo Peter Parker?
Well, there's
he's wearing a black suit in one of those shots. So
yeah.
No.
The less said about Spider-Man 3, the better, I believe.
Yeah. No,
what, you didn't like Topher Grace as Venom?
I didn't like. I was sitting there watching that movie, going, "Wow, they just fucked this to no end. There's no unfucking it. It's just bad.
That's trash."
Topher Grace as Eddie Brock is a bad choice. Just a bad.
I just like being bad.
Hey, we can't bat 100 with these things. It's like or can't bat 1,000. You can bat 100. They certainly batted 100 with Spider-Man 3. But yeah, they can't all be winners.
They got Spider-Man 1 down. They got Spider-Man 2 down, and we should just be happy that we got 2.
Yeah,
yeah. And Spider-Man 2 ended just fine. They both ended on a fine note. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that tonight. We can pick up some more comic book stuff next week if you want our movie stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
I always enjoy. I like how the last like 45 minutes of the show is now like this movie / whatever talk.
Hey, it's basically a sports show. Remember that?
It's goddamn right.
Putting the basically a sports show.
Da, da, na,
which
na, na, na,
everybody get
the listeners
and
my chipmunk adventure before we go really quick.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I was pretty fucking impressed with myself. So anyway, really quick, guys. In our basement, which is about 7 feet down from where the dryer vent goes out the side of the house, a chipmunk got into it Saturday and slid down and got stuck in between in the vent between the dryer and the vent going back out. My girlfriend and I were like, well, we could take the dryer off and take the thing off, unscrew the vent and open it, and hopefully he could run into like a bag or something. We could get him back out. And I had a moment of just, I don't know where it came from. I went, wait a minute, all that little bastard needs is something to climb on. Let's put a piece of rope down here and see if he'll climb back out once he figures out it's there. She looks at me like I'm crazy. She goes, well, we can give it a shot, I guess. So we get the rope, put it down the house. And then I said, okay, hit the dryer, because the dryer, that's how I found out he was in there. I turned the dryer on, and it sounded like this poor thing was just like flipping out. I've been here scratching and banging. And long story short, I run the rope down. We hit the dryer, and that little fucker came out of there so fast, I didn't even have a chance to, I could barely see him get out. So I'm very, very impressed with my my ingenuity and engineering there in that respect. I thought that was pretty cool. So there you go.
Well done. Yeah, it was an impressive video. Shot out of there.
Yeah.
And of course, listeners, make sure to get your pizza rolls handy for next week as we celebrate 10 years.
God damn, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait. Really?
Labor Day weekend, the first week of the NFL.
I thought it was
10
No,
years.
it's 9.
We're going into
9 years.
We're going into our 10th season starting.
We're going into our 10th season.
Yeah, okay. Starting season 10.
We would make the 10th anniversary patch.
Right.
And say this is the 10th season.
Even though technically it's only 9, we would make a 10th anniversary patch, and we come back with another one for next year, because
so we could sell merchandise for a full year.
Right.
And then sell it again next year. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be. We were finishing up 9 years.
Well, you do what the Canadians did, and you do 100th season and then 100th anniversary.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So if any of the listeners,
I'm sure we had a lockout in there somewhere, right?
I would love to sit down and do like a 10-year retrospective or 9-year, but fuck me, man, that's just way too much work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of work. That's why it's up to the listeners to remind us of what we've done, because we don't know.
We don't remember. People bring something up.
Anyway.
Like, oh, did that? Yeah. So anyway, if we're done, we'll call it a night. And when's the NFL? Week after next, right?
Yeah, week after next.
September
This is the weekend.
11th.
Overreaction Monday, not too far down the road. That's going to
Overreaction Monday, the best day on the sports calendar.
Better believe it. Yeah. Really quick, guys. Let's pick your overreaction and underreaction teams right now. Who do you think are going to overreact? And I'll do mine. The Browns are going to lose their first game. Everybody's going to lose their fucking mind and say they're terrible. And I think the Steelers will win their first game. They're going to get up their back. They're fine. And that's going to be wrong on both ends.
I think what's going to happen is I'll actually take my team. I think the Bucks are going to lose the first game. And I think people are going to, do the whole, is Tom Brady cooked? And then it turns out they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Rams will beat the shit out of the Bears. Won't even be close. It'll be national television embarrassment, and everyone will be calling for Justin Fields to start.
No, Andy, have faith.
No, I know. I've seen this movie before. They're going to get their fucking shit racked in. The Bears are garbage. I think that Mac Jones will start for the Patriots, and people are going to be like, "Oh shit, he's the next Tom Brady. He'll probably have a pretty nice game."
Right.
But yeah, they'll probably peter out at some point. But yeah, Mac Jones and the Patriots.
I think all of those are pretty realistic. Zach, what do you got?
Overreaction Chargers. I'm sure everyone will be all over Justin Herbert once again, and then I can't wait for the Chargers to charger. And then underreaction. Jeez, I don't know. I can't think of one off. It's probably something with the Cowboys. Dak will come back, and everyone will. They'll lose, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, the Cowboys are in trouble, and they'll be fine. Yeah.
All right, there you go. So we'll have plenty of that on Overreaction Monday in 2 weeks. With that, we're going to call it a night. Follow us on Twitter.
I look forward to Greg saying that Tom Brady looks done, and then on his way to another Super Bowl.
They'll be sticking that motherfucker in the ground, and I still won't say it. Simple as that.
He'll take a swig of his water in the pregame and be like, "Does this have hint of strawberry?" And someone's laced all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers water jugs with strawberries.
All right, so we're going to call it a night. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and I'm sure there's another one I can't remember. Wherever fine podcasting is sold. Until next week, we will see you all next time.
Adios.